Welcome to week one of land use and planning. When we think about the places where we live, images of the physical landscape or built environment, the buildings, roads, bridges, etc., may come to mind. But we don't often take the time to ponder linkages between the natural and the built environment, or to consider our own relationship to the places we call home. An important concept that we will explore in week one is the term communities of place. A community of place is a community of people that are tied together by the places in which they live, work, or spend a large part of their time. These can be things like towns, neighborhoods, public spaces, coffee houses, or any place in which people regularly gather and interact with other community members. Many of us have experienced such places in our youth or perhaps in our travels as an adult. The best communities of place make us feel like we are part of a close-knit community, even if we don't know everybody around us. What makes a place sustainable, ecologically, economically, and socially? Unless you've encountered the term sustainability before, you probably haven't thought much about whether or not the place where you live is sustainable. Many times, when people think about the environment or environmental studies, they envision stunning landscapes like mountains, forests, and rivers, wild nature, nature out there, nature far from home. Nature where we live, on the other hand, is so close at hand that we often overlook the complex interactions between natural systems and human activities right here in our own backyards. Unless we are confronted with major problems like wildfires or violent crime, we tend to take for granted that the places where we live are ecologically, economically, and socially healthy and stable. Ecological sustainability considers the long-term quality of ecosystems within our communities, the land, air, and water on which we depend. Economic sustainability considers our ability to be able to support our community infrastructure over the long term from a monetary standpoint. Are we designing and building systems and structures that we can afford to maintain? Social sustainability considers things like livability, social equity, and community health. This course focuses on nature where we live. It examines current trends and land use in the United States and elsewhere, and contemplates whether or not planning for sustainability is desirable and possible. The first part of the course introduces contemporary land use challenges, concepts about sustainable places, and some history of ideas about planning. In the second part of the course, we will focus on smart growth, sustainable communities, and exobia. Landscape planning can be defined as the scientific study of landscapes to assess past, current, and future capabilities to support different land uses that also accounts for environmental and ecological health. It has evolved into a scientific discipline practiced by landscape architects, planners, and natural resource scientists. Landscape planning can be traced to ancient architects and builders. Marcus Vitruvius Pollio wrote about the importance of microclimates, vegetation, and hydrology in the planning of new settlements and cities. The modern practice of landscape planning can be traced from Frederick Olmsted with his holistic approach to planning park systems. Patrick Geddes, the first bio and socio-regional planner, and Warren Manning, a pioneer of early overlay analysis, were great influences in the modern development of landscape planning. Olmsted urged the public to plant spacious parks in our cities, and unloose their gates as wide as the gates of morning to the whole people. In the 1960s, an evolution in landscape planning occurred, in concert with a new and vital environmental awareness. Ian McHarg reintroduced the concept of overlay analysis with an emphasis on ecology and conservation of natural resources. The evolution of overlay analysis by McHarg was instrumental in the design and the development of Geographic Information Systems, GIS, as an invaluable analysis and assessment tool in all fields of planning. The field of landscape planning has evolved into a first step in the regional or land use planning process. Land use planning is analogous to regional planning, community planning, urban planning, and any other planning exercise that ultimately plays a role in defining how land is used. Within the professional planning community, the term land use planning is not commonly used. This is the result of the evolution of planning from strictly planning land use to a more equal concern with economic development, environmental justice, and social and economic equity. In the last 2 decades, the planning profession has again been more focused on land use planning, but has changed the terminology to smart growth, sustainable planning, regionalism, etc. We will discuss each of these concepts in class this semester. The tools for land use planning are zoning laws, subdivision and land use laws, and stormwater laws and regulations. Land use planners have also been involved in the transfer of development rights, purchase of development rights, farmland and forestry preservation programs, and additional programs to help guide land development. They also determine appropriate land uses based on ecological carrying capacity, historic land use, future regional development pressure, and economic development needs. Landscape planning and land use planning are synergistic in that landscape planning informs the policymaking and legal structure of comprehensive land use planning. The future of land use planning and smart growth is tied to comprehensive landscape planning in concert with economic development and social equity planning. We will explore these areas in depth this semester. Increasingly, urban and community planners recognize the importance of involving all stakeholders, landowners, developers, business owners, and the general public in planning efforts. Community engagement is important to ensure that comprehensive plans, land use plans, and development plans are congruent with the citizens' desires for their future. Good planning takes a comprehensive approach that considers economic, social, and environmental factors to ensure future sustainability. Now, I invite you to explore these concepts further through your Week 1 forum and assigned readings. These will provide a great starting point for our exploration of the exciting field of land use planning.